Well, Stephen and I came into St. Louis last night around 9:30 p.m. And I have to say, I got the feeling that Mr. Williams must have had when he went from the sensual, languid South to the more northern industrial St. Louis. It was a little bit of a letdown for me coming from Memphis to St. Louis because I really loved Memphis. But this is the home that Tennessee and his family lived in, I believe, for a period of 10 years, from like his early teens to a young man. We're going to stop by the International Shoe Factory, which is now the City Museum, and that's where Tennessee worked with his dad. His dad was a manager there. But so Stephen and I stayed in the second floor of this building. Tennessee's family lived on the third floor. And of course, these apartments have been remodeled since the 1920s, but I still got a feel. How about you, Stephen? Did you get a feel? Definitely.
Yeah.
And my uncle just asked me in an email, did I feel any ghosts last night? I'm definitely feeling something. I don't know if it was a ghost or not, but so now we are on our way to Creve Coeur, and we are going to check out the park that obviously is an essential fixture in our play. And that too, of course, has been revamped, but it's still the same property. So I think we'll get a feel for it. This is definitely an important part of this play. And I think I'm beginning to realize that it represents something very significant to both Bodhi and Dorothea. But significant in a different way to each of them. And I think that's what causes some of their conflict. And I don't want to say any more. I don't want to be presumptuous. But I'm realizing what this destination means, at least for my character and for the play. There is a streetcar that was built at the beginning of the century, the 20th century. And we hope to find it here a little bit. And they would have to take the streetcar from Del Mar Boulevard, or actually from various parts in St. Louis. And it was built by the railroad to come here because there was a county fair here. All sorts of events started to develop at the turn of the century because of the railroad companies that were coming to St. Louis. St. Louis at the turn of the century was on the verge of becoming the next Chicago, the next New York. And we need to ask our director, Mr. Pendleton, why that didn't happen. He was a history major at Yale, and I think he does know why. It didn't quite happen. And there was a World's Fair here at the turn of the century, and that had something to do with also why I believe they wanted the streetcar. So the streetcar was built. And our characters in this play take the streetcar out here on Sunday afternoons at Del Mar Boulevard, which we are going to check out later today, which is near where we're staying. And I believe near where Dorothea and Bodhi were rooming together on Westminster Place. Even though Dripping Springs is not specifically mentioned in the play, I do believe that it was here in the 1930s, and it is supposedly, reportedly, the reason for the name. broken heart. It was a lorn Indian maiden. And I do think that this resonates in some way. It's really kind of beautiful. Reminds me of Frank Lloyd Wright and his, the way he would incorporate springs into his homes and into his structures. I've got some Creve Coeur in my DNA now. And I'm thinking that this probably would have been something like our picnic area that Bodie and Buddy and I would go out to on Dorothea, meaning Dorothea, that we would go out to on Sunday afternoons. There are children playing in a playground across the way, and Bodie and Dorothea do reference all the children out at the park. And when Dorothea says that she's not going on the picnic with Bodie and Buddy, and Bodie says, I have all this food, they both say, we'll give it to the children. And we hear children playing across the way. But there's something about this area that does remind me of a 1930s picnic lunch. So on we go. See? That's the old brick building of the original park, and that's the streetcar.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's us.
Oh, do you know where the streetcar tracks are?
I don't know where the tracks are, but I do know that there is a plaque right out front.
This is it, babe. You just made our day.
Yay!
Right.
Yeah, so this building
Can you get her on? Can you?
Yeah, this building was the power station for the old streetcar that came from here to the Delmar Loop.
Exactly.
So
That's
we'll loop out this way.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, the informational plaque is right out front.
Oh, terrific.
And I've heard stories that there are old remnants of tracks up the road that way, but I haven't found them myself.
Okay, that's what it says online too. It said around the brick building.
Yeah.
So just go up that trail?
Yeah, I've heard it's, what is it, on the top of a berm or something now? Like
Yeah,
you can still
something.
see it if you walk in the woods. But I
Oh.
don't know that there's actual tracks on the ground or
No,
anything.
I don't think there's actual tracks, but there should be something like near a trail in the woods.
Yeah.
From what I
So,
remember.
so what will we see on the trail?
I think you
That
can
I'm
just,
not-
you can kind of see where it was lifted up, like where they built it up for support.
Oh, I see.
And I think
okay.
there's part of it where the actual tracks are there. But I don't know for sure.
And so what trail will we take?
Bootleggers.
Oh, Bootleggers. And where is that?
You can go down this little service road right here and it goes right across it.
Okay. Stephen, can we do that?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Wow, you just made-
That is right out. Just yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's super interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it really is.
Creve Coeur in 1945. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck. Let me know if you guys need
Oh,
anything
thank you
else.
so much. And your name is?
Leah.
Yeah, that's streetcar line. The one started. This is it. She said take a right.
That looks like a bootleg jug.
It's called Bootleggers a Trail.
Oh,
This is it. The hell they were talking about? Something about the support for the tracks, but not the tracks themselves. I don't know. It's separating. Maybe this
No.
is no. You don't think?
When was it here? In the 70s? It would have grown over.
70? No. The Creve Coeur streetcar line. It started at Delmar Boulevard, near where we're staying, and then it came here. This was the last stop, I believe. So there are no more remaining tracks, but according to Leah, there are indentations of where there's no remaining steel tracks, but she said there's indentations where the tracks were that remain. We're hoping these are they. We'll find out. But this definitely, the streetcar did take this track. This was its route. What do you think?
It's not, I mean, it seems connected to the parking structure somehow up above, but obviously part of it is not the parking structure because it's got this tube here.
Where's the tube?
Right there, this tube in front of me.
Oh.
Which could also be a rain tube. Where water drains out.
Right.
But that's...
But you see this and it's all, it looks like, it was some sort of structure. It wasn't the track, it was some sort of structure. And she said that's where.
No, that seems to be it.
Yeah.